Most men over 60 have no idea that the way they're drinking water, yes, plain old water, could be the silent reason behind their fading erections, low energy, and declining testosterone. It sounds ridiculous, I know. How could something so basic be responsible for something so serious? But after treating thousands of men over 3 decades, I can tell you with full confidence, the problem isn't always your age, it's your habits. And one of the most overlooked habits is how and when you drink water. I'm Dr. Mohit Khera, a board-certified urologist and men's health specialist with over 30 years of experience. I've sat across from men in their 60s, 70s, and 80s who came to me frustrated, defeated, and convinced that their best days were behind them. But time and again, I've seen how a few simple changes, like the way they hydrate, can reignite their energy, performance, and confidence in ways they never thought possible. What if I told you that even mild dehydration can thicken your blood, weaken circulation, suppress testosterone, and raise stress hormones, all of which make it harder to get and maintain an erection? And what if the solution wasn't found in a prescription bottle, but in a glass of water, used the right way? In today's video, I'll reveal 8 powerful, science-backed secrets about water and erections that older men wish they had learned decades ago. These are the same principles I use with my patients every single day, and near the end, I'll share a little-known morning trick that takes just 7 seconds and works hand-in-hand with proper hydration to boost blood flow and bedroom performance. Keep watching, because this might be the most important video you see all year. Before we begin, if you're serious about improving your health and reclaiming your confidence, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell so you never miss practical, science-backed advice made specifically for men over 60. And if this video resonates with you, type 1 in the comments. If it doesn't, type 0 so I know how to better serve you next time. Alright, let's get straight to it. The first thing we need to talk about is blood flow, because without it, there is no erection. And what most men don't realize is that blood itself is mostly water. That means if you're even slightly dehydrated, your blood becomes thicker, slower, and harder to circulate. And when blood can't flow freely, especially to the areas that matter most, your ability to get and stay firm takes a direct hit. Let's break that down. 1. Water is blood's best friend, and erections depend on blood. Let me tell you something I've learned after more than 3 decades of listening to men behind closed doors, men just like you. The number one complaint I hear isn't always about testosterone or libido. It's this: "Doc, it's just not working like it used to." And 9 times out of 10, before we look at hormones or medications, I ask them one question: how much water are you actually drinking? Most men laugh it off. They say, "I drink coffee in the morning, maybe some soda with lunch, but water? Hardly." And yet the truth is, your erection is a hydraulic event. It's all about pressure. It requires blood to rush into the penis, fill the chambers, and stay there. But if your blood is too thick, too slow, or too heavy to move properly, that pressure never builds. You may feel the desire, but physically, your body can't rise to the occasion. Blood is over 90% water. So when you're not hydrated, even just a little, your blood becomes sluggish. Your heart has to pump harder to circulate it. That means less oxygen, less nutrient delivery, and yes, less blood flow to your penis. And that's not just my opinion. That's simple human biology. One of my patients, Jim, a 68-year-old former coach, came into my office with his head down and said, "Doc, it's not working anymore. I think I'm too old." He had accepted it as his new normal. But when I looked at his lifestyle, he was doing nearly everything right, except drinking water. No major illnesses, no medications, just chronic dehydration. I asked him to commit to one small change: sipping water throughout the day, consistently, with intention. No chugging, no icy bottles, just slow, steady hydration. 2 weeks later, he came back grinning. "I don't know what changed," he said, "but something's working again." And the only change he made was how he drank water. That's the power of proper hydration. It thins your blood, improves circulation, and supports every mechanism your body depends on for performance. And it doesn't take much, just consistency. Most men don't realize that even mild dehydration can reduce blood volume enough to make a difference. You don't feel thirsty, but your body is already slowing down. Your erection strength weakens, your recovery time increases, and your confidence starts to slip away, quietly, slowly, over time. But here's what makes this even more important. Your blood doesn't just carry oxygen, it also delivers hormones. Testosterone, nitric oxide, and essential nutrients all ride through your bloodstream to get where they need to go. If that system isn't flowing smoothly, nothing works like it should. So the next time you feel like your body is letting you down, don't jump to conclusions about aging. Ask yourself first, am I hydrated enough for my blood to do its job? Now, that's just the beginning. Because even if you're drinking enough water, there's something else that could be sabotaging your performance from the inside, and it's even more dangerous than poor blood flow. It has to do with a hormone every man needs, and what happens to it when your body goes into survival mode. Let's talk about that next. 2. Dehydration silently lowers testosterone. I remember sitting across from a man named Walter. He was 72 years old, recently widowed, and still living on his own. Sharp mind, clear eyes, but his energy was fading. He looked at me and said, "Doc, I don't feel sick. I just don't feel like myself anymore." There wasn't a crisis, no obvious medical emergency, but something inside him had gone dim, and he didn't know why. We talked. He wasn't on any major medications. He exercised a little, ate okay, and wasn't depressed. But he felt flat, low drive, no motivation, and no real interest in intimacy. And behind all of that was a quiet fear. Am I just done? I ran his labs. His testosterone levels were lower than average, not alarmingly low, but enough to explain why he felt off. When I asked about his water intake, he admitted, almost like a confession, "Probably not much, to be honest." And there it was. Most men don't realize that dehydration does far more than make you tired or thirsty. It throws your entire system into survival mode. Your body starts conserving energy, protecting vital organs, regulating temperature, and maintaining blood pressure. And anything not essential for survival, like reproduction, libido, muscle building, and testosterone production, gets sidelined. Testosterone isn't just about sex, it's about drive, strength, identity. It's the fire in your belly that makes you feel like a man. But when your body senses a lack of water, it suppresses that fire to save itself. And the more dehydrated you are over time, the more that hormonal imbalance becomes your new normal. But that's not all. There's another enemy that dehydration brings with it: cortisol. That's your primary stress hormone. When you're dehydrated, your cortisol levels spike. And here's the problem. Cortisol and testosterone can't dominate at the same time. When cortisol rises, testosterone falls. It's like a seesaw, and most men over 60 are unknowingly stuck on the wrong side of it. Back to Walter. We didn't put him on testosterone shots or hormone replacement therapy. Instead, I gave him something far simpler, a hydration routine. He started drinking water first thing in the morning, kept a bottle with him all day, and took small, consistent sips instead of waiting until he was thirsty. He avoided caffeine in the afternoon, stayed away from alcohol before bed, and listened to his body. 4 weeks later, he walked back into my office with a spring in his step. "Doc," he said, "I feel awake again. I'm laughing more. I'm even interested in dating." That spark was back, and all it took was giving his body the one thing it had been silently craving: water. The truth is, many older men aren't suffering from hormone failure. They're suffering from long-term dehydration, and no one ever told them. But even if you're drinking water every day, there's still something most men get completely wrong. And it's not about how much, it's about how. This one mistake could be the reason your body still isn't responding the way you want it to. Let me show you what it is. 3. Most men drink water the wrong way. When I first started telling men that how they drink water affects their erections, I'll be honest, most of them laughed in my face. I'll never forget Mike, a retired truck driver in his late 60s, big guy, no-nonsense type. He looked at me, chuckled, and said, "Doc, it's water. What am I supposed to do? Pray over it?" I smiled and said, "No, Mike, but you are supposed to respect it." That's where most men go wrong. They think drinking water is as simple as chugging a bottle when they feel thirsty. But the truth is, by the time you feel thirsty, your body is already dehydrated. And when you drink a large amount all at once, especially ice-cold water, your body can't absorb it properly. Instead of hydrating your cells, that water rushes through your system, overwhelming your kidneys and flushing out valuable minerals. It's like throwing a bucket of water at a dry sponge. It doesn't soak in, it just runs off the sides. Your body prefers consistency. It wants small, steady sips of water throughout the day. That's how it maintains blood volume, keeps your nervous system balanced, and helps hormones stay in check. Even the way you sit makes a difference. Drinking while seated, rather than standing or moving around, signals the parasympathetic nervous system, your rest and digest mode, which allows for better absorption. And here's something most men have never heard. Even letting water mix with your saliva for a few seconds before you swallow helps your body process it more effectively. It's a small, ancient practice, backed by modern science. Mike was skeptical, but he agreed to try it. He stopped chugging cold water from the fridge and started sipping room-temperature water slowly throughout the day. He sat down when he drank, and he began paying attention to when his body needed water, rather than ignoring it until he felt parched. Within 3 weeks, he called my office. "Doc," he said, "I don't know what kind of magic this is, but I feel stronger. Not just in bed, but overall." That's not magic. That's physiology. When you respect how your body wants to receive water, it rewards you with better circulation, steadier energy, clearer focus, and yes, stronger erections. It's not about drinking more, it's about drinking smarter. Most older men were never taught this. They assume hydration is just about quantity, but quality, how you hydrate, makes all the difference. Think of your body like a classic engine. You wouldn't flood it with gas in one burst and expect it to run smoothly. You'd fuel it slowly, carefully, and consistently. Your body works the same way. And here's the catch. Even if you're drinking water the right way, there's a good chance you're still doing things throughout the day that cancel out all your hard work. Little habits that seem harmless, but are quietly pulling water out of your system and sabotaging your progress. Let's take a closer look at those next. 4. Hidden habits that cancel out proper hydration. There's nothing more frustrating than doing the right thing and not seeing results. I see this all the time with my older patients. Men who commit to drinking more water, changing their habits, and really trying to take care of themselves, only to come back weeks later saying, "Doc, I feel a little better, but it's not what I expected." That's exactly what happened with Harold, a 74-year-old retired pilot who followed my hydration advice down to the letter. He sipped slowly, avoided cold water, drank while seated. He did everything I asked, but when he sat across from me during his follow-up visit, he looked puzzled. "Doc, I was hoping for more." So we took a closer look at the rest of his routine. What we found were small, everyday choices that seemed harmless, but were actually working against him. Like many men, Harold started his morning with a strong cup of coffee. Later in the day, he'd enjoy a glass of wine with dinner. After a juicy orange or a few slices of watermelon, he'd wash it all down with a big glass of water. None of it seemed like a problem, until we looked at it through the lens of hydration. Caffeine and alcohol are both diuretics. That means they actually pull water out of your system, increasing urine output and leaving you more dehydrated than you realize. You might think you're replenishing with water, but if you're chasing it down after coffee or alcohol, you're just playing catch-up and never really getting ahead. Then there's the issue of timing. Drinking water immediately after eating water-rich fruits like oranges, grapes, or melons can dilute your digestive enzymes and cause bloating. When that happens, your body becomes less efficient at absorbing nutrients, and your water intake loses some of its benefit. Even something as innocent as drinking too much water too quickly, what we call overhydration, can flush out key minerals like sodium, magnesium, and potassium. These minerals are essential for nerve function, muscle contractions, and yes, your sexual response. Once Harold understood this, we made just a few minor adjustments. He started spacing out his water intake more intentionally, drinking before meals rather than after fruit, cutting back slightly on coffee and wine, and adding a pinch of sea salt to his morning glass to help retain key electrolytes. Within days, he told me, "Doc, it's like my body finally got the message. I feel balanced. I feel like I'm working with my body instead of against it." Sometimes the solution isn't about doing more. It's about removing the subtle things that quietly sabotage your efforts. Once you eliminate those hidden mistakes, the benefits of hydration begin to work in your favor, almost like a switch being flipped inside you. But what really excites me is this. Science is now beginning to prove just how powerful proper hydration can be, not just in theory, but in measurable results that you can see and feel. Firmer erections, better energy, clearer thinking. It's not just talk, it's biology. And the next part will show you exactly why. Let's dive into what the science says. 5. The science-backed benefits of proper hydration for sexual health. One of the most rewarding parts of my work is watching science confirm what we've always felt deep down to be true, that when you give your body what it truly needs, it responds. No gimmicks, no quick fixes, just a return to what was always supposed to be working in the first place. I remember Carl, a 70-year-old man who came to me not because of any specific medical issue, but because he simply felt like he was fading. He wasn't in pain, he wasn't sick, but there was this slow dimming of his spark. He used to feel driven, alert, connected. But now, as he put it, "Doc, I feel like I'm just existing." As we talked, it became clear that he'd written off a lot of those changes as normal aging. His sex life had gone quiet, his focus was off, his blood pressure was creeping up, his skin was dull, and his energy crashed by midday. He chalked it all up to being in his 70s. But what stood out to me was how little water he drank. It wasn't that he refused, it just never felt urgent to him. Like many men his age, he drank when he remembered, but it wasn't a habit. I asked him to commit to proper hydration, not just drinking more, but drinking better. Small, steady sips throughout the day, room temperature, sitting down, no chugging, no cold shocks, no relying on thirst as a signal. Carl was skeptical but gave it a shot. 6 weeks later, he was a different man. His erections returned with more strength. His blood pressure had dropped. His skin looked healthier. He was mentally sharper, more emotionally present. His wife even noticed and gently asked one night, "Are you okay? You seem like yourself again." That question, for him, was the turning point. It wasn't just about sex, it was about life, about being awake again. And it wasn't just a lucky break. Research supports what Carl and so many other men experience firsthand. Hydration improves blood viscosity, allowing for smoother circulation. It keeps organs like the liver and kidneys working efficiently, critical for hormonal regulation. Hydrated brains think more clearly, hydrated muscles contract more effectively, and hydrated blood delivers oxygen and testosterone exactly where your body needs it most, especially in intimate moments. Even a 1 or 2% drop in hydration can negatively affect mood, memory, and focus. Yet when you're properly hydrated, you feel calmer, more confident, and more connected, not just to your body, but to your partner. And when circulation improves, so does erection quality. That's not placebo, that's science. Carl's story isn't unique. I see this transformation in men every week, once they finally begin to treat hydration not as an afterthought, but as a cornerstone of their health, because real change often comes from the simplest shifts. But there's something else that makes hydration even more critical as you get older, something few doctors talk about, but every man over 60 needs to understand. It's about how aging changes the rules, and why your body can no longer afford to be ignored. Let's talk about that next. 6. Why hydration matters more after 60. There's something no one really warns you about when you cross 60. It's not just that your body changes, it's that it stops covering for your bad habits. When you were younger, you could skip meals, stay up late, forget to drink water, and still wake up the next day feeling fine. Maybe not perfect, but functional. But after 60, the cost of those small mistakes adds up fast. You start to notice that your energy doesn't bounce back like it used to. Your focus slips, your mood dips, and in the bedroom, things start to feel different, slower, weaker, less responsive. One of my patients, Frank, a 67-year-old retired electrician, put it perfectly. He said, "Doc, I feel like someone turned the volume down on my life. That hit me hard, because I've heard it in different forms from hundreds of men. It's not just about erections. It's not even about sex necessarily. It's about presence. It's about feeling fully alive in your own skin. When Frank and I talked more, we discovered what I see in so many older men. His hydration had slowly declined over the years. Not on purpose. Life just got busier. He didn't feel as thirsty. Coffee and the occasional beer took the place of water. And over time, that subtle dehydration started to drag him down. His blood wasn't circulating the way it used to. His hormone levels were dipping. His brain felt foggy. And he just assumed, like so many men do, that this was part of getting older. But it doesn't have to be. After just a few weeks of consistent, mindful hydration, room temperature water, slow sips throughout the day, no cold chugging, and stopping fluids at least an hour before bed, Frank began to feel different. His mornings got easier. His thoughts were clearer. He stopped taking long afternoon naps. And yes, his erections came back stronger, more naturally. But more than that, his spark returned. His posture changed. He looked me in the eye again. He said, "I didn't realize how far I'd slipped until I came back to myself." This is what proper hydration can do when your body is no longer 25. When you're over 60, every system in your body depends more on balance. Your cardiovascular system needs smoother blood flow. Your hormone regulation becomes more sensitive. Your kidneys and liver work harder to filter out toxins and support your metabolism. Without enough water and the right kind of water routine, those systems start to lag, quietly, until one day you wake up wondering where your edge went. The truth is, water is no longer optional. It's not something you remember to drink when you're thirsty. It's something you must give your body consistently, intentionally, and with respect. That shift alone can change everything. And if you're serious about taking this to the next level, not just with hydration, but with results you can feel in the bedroom and beyond, there's one more thing you need to know. A simple 7-second habit that works in harmony with proper hydration to unlock real, lasting performance. Let me show you what it is. 7. Combine hydration with this 7-second morning trick. Over the years, I've come to believe that the first few minutes of your day can shape everything, from your energy to your mindset to how your body performs. Especially after 60, those early moments matter more than ever. And while hydration is the foundation, there's one simple habit I share with my patients that takes it all to the next level. It only takes 7 seconds, and when done consistently, it can reawaken something inside you that may have been quiet for years. Greg, one of my longtime patients, was 71 when he came to me. He had been following his hydration plan religiously, room temperature water, spaced out through the day, avoiding cold drinks, staying away from dehydration triggers. And it helped. His energy picked up, his mood was brighter, but there was still something missing. He said, "Doc, I feel good, but not great, like I'm almost there." That's when I taught him the 7-second morning trick. It's not complicated, and it doesn't require any special equipment. Just you, your breath, and your intention. The technique is simple. A slow, deep inhale through the nose, hold for a few seconds, then exhale gently through the nose again. What this does is stimulate the release of nitric oxide, a natural molecule your body produces that acts like a switch for blood flow. It tells your blood vessels to relax and open up, allowing more oxygen-rich blood to reach every part of your body, including the one you're probably thinking about right now. Most men over 60 have declining nitric oxide levels. It's one of the reasons blood flow weakens with age, even if your heart is still strong. But with just a few intentional breaths each morning, right after your first glass of water, you can activate this system and supercharge your circulation. It's gentle, it's natural, and it works with your body, not against it. Greg was skeptical at first. "Doc, how is breathing going to fix anything?" he asked. I smiled and said, "Just give it 2 weeks." And he did. 2 weeks later, he came in looking lighter, like a burden had lifted off him. "Doc," he said, "I don't know how to explain it, but I feel switched back on. My body feels like it remembers how to work again." That's what this is really about. It's not about turning you into someone you're not. It's about helping your body remember who you've always been. When you pair smart hydration with this 7-second nitric oxide boosting routine, you're telling your system it's time to perform again, on every level. Not just sexually, but mentally, emotionally, energetically. And what I love about it is how accessible it is. No pills, no complicated schedules, no waiting for a prescription, just water, breath, and a few moments of intention. Stack those things together day after day, and you begin to rebuild your foundation. 8. Your daily hydration routine for stronger erections. One of the most common questions I get from men over 60 is, "Doc, I get it. Hydration is important, but just tell me exactly what to do." And I understand that. At this stage in life, you don't need vague advice or more confusion. You need something simple, something you can stick to, something that works. That's why I developed a clear daily hydration rhythm, built not just on science, but on the real-life success stories of men I've treated in my own clinic. Richard was one of those men. At 66, a retired firefighter, he came to me feeling worn out. Years of stress, poor sleep, and irregular habits had taken a toll. His erections were weak, his energy unpredictable, and he didn't feel like himself anymore. He was ready to try anything, but didn't want pills or empty promises. I told him, "Let's rebuild your foundation, starting with water." I gave him this routine. First thing in the morning, before coffee or food, drink 1 full glass of room temperature water, slowly while seated. Within 2 hours, drink another glass, this time with a small pinch of sea salt to help your body retain essential minerals. Around lunchtime, sip 1 or 2 more glasses, again seated and unrushed. In the afternoon, add another glass, especially if you've had caffeine or been outside in the heat. Then in the early evening, have 1 final glass, stopping at least an hour before bed to avoid disrupting your sleep. He followed it. No skipping, no rushing, no cold chugging, just mindful, steady hydration every single day. Within 3 weeks, Richard felt more focused. His afternoon crashes were gone. He slept deeper. And most importantly, he said, "Doc, I'm responding again. When the moment's right, my body actually shows up." That kind of progress, real, measurable change, starts with giving your body what it's been quietly asking for all along. This routine isn't complicated, and it doesn't require you to carry a gallon jug or count ounces. It's about rhythm. It's about giving your body water when it needs it most. After rest, during digestion, before stress, and in preparation for recovery. When you follow this rhythm, your circulation improves, your hormones stabilize, and your erection quality begins to reflect the health you've been working so hard to reclaim. And I want to say something here that's important. This isn't just about erections. This is about vitality. It's about walking into each day with clarity, energy, and confidence. It's about rebuilding your connection to your body, your partner, and yourself. That starts with water. That starts today. Now, you've seen the science. You've heard the stories. You understand the method. But before we wrap up, I want to leave you with one final message, one that pulls everything together and reminds you why this small change matters more than you ever imagined. Stay with me. This last part could be the one thing that turns everything around. Conclusion: stay hydrated, stay strong. Over the last 30 years, I've had the privilege of sitting across from thousands of men, good men, strong men, who walked into my office thinking they were broken. Some thought they were too old, others thought the fire was gone for good. But time and again, I've watched their lives change, not with prescriptions or procedures, but with something as simple and overlooked as water. You've now seen how hydration plays a far greater role in your sexual health and overall vitality than most doctors ever tell you. You've learned that blood flow, the very essence of a strong erection, depends on thin, fluid blood that moves easily, and that blood is more than 90% water. We talked about how even slight dehydration can thicken your blood, strain your heart, and reduce the amount of oxygen and nutrients reaching the parts of your body that need it most. We also uncovered how dehydration impacts your hormones, how it suppresses testosterone, raises cortisol, and makes you feel flat, foggy, and disconnected, not only from your partner, but from yourself. I shared the story of Walter, who thought he was losing his edge, only to find it again when he simply began drinking water with purpose. You now understand that most men drink water the wrong way, rushing it, ignoring it, or thinking quantity alone is enough. But your body thrives on rhythm, on steadiness, on habits that support absorption and balance. You've learned to avoid common mistakes, like drinking after caffeine or alcohol, or downing water after eating water-rich fruits, because those things undo the progress you're working so hard to make. You've seen how real men, like Jim, Carl, Frank, Richard, and Greg, transformed not only their sexual performance, but their confidence, energy, and mindset simply by learning to hydrate the right way. And with every story, I hope you felt something stir in you, not shame, not regret, but possibility. Because here's the truth I want you to remember. Your body still wants to work. It may have slowed down, it may be quieter than it once was, but deep within you is the same engine you had in your 30s. It's just waiting for the right conditions to come alive again. Water is part of that. Breathing is part of that. Daily rhythm and intention are part of that. And all of it is within your control. So don't let anyone, your age, your past, your doubts, convince you that your best years are behind you. You have more strength than you know, more potential than you feel, and more time than you think. Every sip of water, every breath you take, every small decision to care for yourself is a vote for the man you still are. Start today. Start simple. Reclaim your energy. Reclaim your power. Reclaim your body, one glass at a time. And if you're ready for the next step, if you want to keep making progress toward a stronger, more vibrant version of yourself, stay with me. There's more to come, more science, more strategies, more truth no one else is telling you. But for now, remember this: stay hydrated and stay strong.